Welcome everyone. Welcome to Living Your Projector Design. This is the first of a series of webinars that I've got scheduled for people to take them through the Living Your Design Awakening program. And throughout this presentation, I've put little links. You can see right there the word synthesis is linked. That's going to link you to either a video throughout the presentation. It's going to go video, audio. It's going to go to more resources so that you can take on this experience longer and just dig in. If you're brand new to human design, you have not seen all of these wonderful videos that I'm going to share with you, all the audios and the presentations and just resources that are important for you to be able to understand your experiment. The reason why it's so important for you to study is because as a projector, we don't have like what almost 70% of the population has in terms of a automatic authority that responds in the moment or responds over time. We don't have that. That's one of the ways that we're here to be very different. So our experiment, it can't be just jumping into it, learning about our design, and then, a week later we're following our design. It's not going to happen. The minimum it takes is about 6 months. Actually, for me, my process, it took me about a year to really feel like I grokked what it took for me to follow my design. Now, as far as following my design throughout the last few years, I've made mistakes. That's how I learn. But the reason why I personally am giving you all of this information for free is because not only do I want to help you, but you need it. It helps me to be able to share it with you because I get to connect with other people who are interested in human design, and it's part of my process of discovery, of awakening, of being this cross of contagion that I am, somebody who's here to infect other people with knowledge. But it's also because you as a projector need to know where the information is that's going to help you understand what exactly you're dealing with, you're entering into when you come into the human design experiment. So there's going to be, again, resources, and you can see here, human design has a lot to it, and it's not any one of those different things that you see on the slide. It's a synthesis of so many things, and it took more than 20 years for a man to bring it out into the world and structure it into a synthesis, a system that people could learn because it's logical, learn and reproduce and teach and experiment and make sure that this was really valid, that this was something that was practical for people. And that is the reason why it has spread. So there's my little spiel on that for now. This webinar is particularly for you as a projector, and your aura is focus and absorbing. Now, I want you to, when you get this PDF download, click on that image right here. There's a 90-minute audio from Ra Uru Hu, the founder of the Human Design System, and it's talking about our signature. Now, what do you mean by signature, Andrea? Well, what I want to say is that signature, like how plants, every plant has a signature. It's a frequency with which we show up in the world as when we're operating correctly, when we're living authentically, when we're being ourselves. So that's what we mean by signature. Every type of human has a signature, and the signature for a projector is success. Now, this success is different depending on each individual unique design, and it has to do with you and your interactions with others, and more on that later. So this is, if you're a projector, you're in the right place. This is specifically for you. Now, a little bit more about myself. I am Andrea Abayabai. I am a Living Your Design Guide certified. I'm a 3-5. That's my profile, the costume that I wear in this life. It's called a martyr heretic. I'm a projector like you. I'm a teacher of human design. I have emotional authority. Again, I'm on the cross of contagion. We'll go into a little bit more about what that means later. I'm in the quarter of initiation, meaning I was born in a place, this gate 30 up here, as you can see on the right-hand side, that gate 30 in the incarnation wheel is in the quarter of initiation, and that's all about purpose fulfilled through mind. So my mind is what I'm here to develop. It's not about form, it's not about bonding, and it's not about mutation. For me, it's all about my mind. So that's what I'm here for. And if you want to, you can click on my picture right there in the PDF download and go to an about page about me where there's a link to a ton of articles that I've written for LaVeena Archive, which is the source of the Human Design System, Ra's company. And then also, too, if you want to click on my image right here, the image of my body graph, you'll go straight over to my body graph where you can save my chart to a free library of your own charts. And what that does for you, the more charts that you have and the more people that you know that you observe, the more you can start to recognize what's going on in them. And for us as projectors, that's how we learn. Our aura focuses outward, and we have this enormous capacity to be able to see the big picture, to master systems, to be able to guide other people, but we can only do that once we have a mastery of a system. So if human design is interesting to you, and because you're here, it's probably very interesting to you, because you wouldn't be sitting around talking to me if you weren't interested in it. So I want to suggest that you maybe go and get a free account on mybodygraph.com and start creating the charts of your family members, the people that you spend time with, and start to observe them, because that's how the best way that you're going to learn. The best way to learn, well, for me anyway, as a third line, is experimentation, is actual experience with different people in my life and seeing how my relationship with them changed once I understood the foundation of what our relationship was when we're together. Because when you come together with someone else, you know how like you're different with different people? You literally are, you become a different being. And you need to surrender to that being and understand it. You can't change it. You can't make it different. You can't erase lines. This is just how it works. So that's my encouragement to you. I want to honor you for being here, and I want to encourage you to study the people around you. Don't be so self-absorbed in studying you, because the way that you learn is through looking at other people's charts. That's another way that I have changed my Living Your Design Awakening program for projectors. I've changed it so that we're not looking just at our own charts. We're looking at charts of ourselves with the people in our lives so that we can understand exactly what's going on. We can start to recognize the signs, the symptoms of dysfunction, the different things that happen, and not blame. There's no blame in human design. This is not a moralistic system. It's not anything that's right or wrong or good or bad. It's just simply looking at the mechanics and understanding what's going on. So there's that for you. I have a little bit more that I could share with you about how I came to the human design system and, you know, what it was all about for me. I shared a little bit last week in the free webinar that you can look for, but I'm not going to go into that this time because I want to go into more teaching. But if you haven't read my Discovering Human Design, a Projector's Experience article, there's you can click that image right there. This is my rave mandala, my full body graph in the mandala. And you can click on that to read my story if you want to learn more about it. Why did I choose to focus on projectors? Well, there's something I know about projectors. I know that if you've been living your life according to your mind, you're in a place where you have not experienced the success in life that you know is out there for you. I know that you feel like there's something missing. I know that you feel either bitter or resentful even, or maybe depressed about where your life is at this time, and that you're looking for a change. You're looking for something to change. You're looking for a difference. You're looking for reasons. Your mind is going, I know this can be better. Why can't I have X, Y, and Z? Why have I worked so darn hard in my whole life, and how come I can't get anywhere? Or if you have gotten somewhere, I got to that point. I got to that point where I had vacations several times a year, and I had houses, multiple houses, and you know, it was amazing. I had a beautiful car, and it was just not fulfilling. My life is not about what I have, and that was what I was focused on. I was focused on what I wanted to have in my life. I wanted security, an undefined splenic center. We'll talk more about the signposts throughout this program, but I was looking for something that never, ever, ever was going to bring me fulfillment. I was living my life in a way that brought me to more pain and more anguish and more bitterness and more resentment than any one person should ever have to deal with. And I don't want that for you. I know the reason why I'm standing up here and opening myself up to criticism, which is one of the things that's really hard for me to take with an unconscious G center to throat, my throat is defined through an unconscious channel that's very sensitive to criticism. So the reason I'm getting up here and being courageous and sharing with you is because I finally, teaching this, I finally started to see more and more how it was important for me to share. It's part of my design. I can't help it. If you're a friend of mine on Facebook or if you've taken a class with me, you know that I share a lot. So the reason I'm focusing on you as a projector is because I know that this system is so powerful. It will give you so much, even if you just get your chart and just know strategy and authority. That's enough. That's enough to radically change your relationships. Now, I don't want to make any promises because it does take a lot of time. It takes the commitment. It takes you being able to be determined and being able to be yourself and be authentic and change when the people around you probably don't want you to change. They like you the way you are. They like you as whatever it is that you've thrown up as a shield against what you thought the world was bringing you and what you wanted to present to the world. So you had this false self, this, when we call it in human design, either the not self or the shadow self. You have this mind that's brilliant. You have a brilliant mind. I know as a projector, that's one of the reasons why in my program, I give you so much information because I know you can handle it. I know that you're here to take in the big picture, to take in a lot of information. You have the capacity to handle it. And I wanted to work with people like me. I wanted to be able to share and watch your process and watch you grow. And I've had enough of those experiences where people have gone through my program and they give me testimonials. They share with me how much it's changed, their life has changed, or what they've seen and how it's improved. And I knew that it was my calling to be able to teach this. So anyway, why you? Because I believe, I know that each of you as a projector has a unique, particular voice and a unique way of guiding other people, that you're here for others. You are the way that we can change our world, because you as projectors, you're on the ascendancy as far as the hierarchy, and it's not that anybody's better than anyone else. It's just that we're designed to work together. Each one of us has a unique, particular gift and a unique way that we're supposed to, designed to show up in the world. And if you're not following your human design, you're showing up as something you're not, and you're going to follow this path that leads you to bitterness and frustration, that you're just not able to get to where you want to go. If you're feeling frustrated, that's not you. That's the signpost of a generator, which as a female, most projector females are deeply conditioned to be this super generator, and most projector males are deeply conditioned to be this kind of manifester. And none of that is going to be able to bring you to alignment, to where you want to be within yourself. And it's not to say that you're not here to generate or manifest. You definitely can do that. You're here to be wise about it. So I wanted to work with you because I knew that my process would be accelerated the more projectors I got into my life, the more I got to talk to them, and the more that I got to see their process, the more I got to interact with them. That's why I chose you to start with first. It's not to say that I might not do some classes down the road with a generator teacher and do some living your designs, but I'm starting with you because I know I can help. If you're attracted to the way that I talk or the system, there might be somebody else that's better for you out there. But I just knew that this was something that I needed to share. So, and that's what my design is all about. It's all about sharing. So my job is to help ask you some really important questions. Really important questions. Good leaders ask great questions, right? So I want to know, what is it that you're occupying your mind with right now? What are you thinking about most of the time? Are you thinking about yourself and how you can make yourself and your life better? If you're focused in on yourself and you're trying to figure out all your problems about yourself with your own mind, you are totally lost, because your mind is so conditioned by the world at large that you are completely off your path when you make a decision with your mind. So I want to ask you that question. What are you feeding into that brain of yours? What are you believing, what that mind is telling you about you? And that's is it getting you, places where you feel really good about? Are you feeling successful? And it's not about material success. It's about you feeling seen, feeling appreciated, being recognized yourself, because you're here. That recognition capacity of, projectors are here to recognize. That's one of their powers. But you're here to really be able to be recognized by the other. That's how you get your invitations. When they recognize that you're somebody who can help them, that's where your power is. Where is your power? Your power is being able to be there for that other person. We are here for others. Very particular type that's here to penetrate deeply into who someone else is, to absorb them, to taste them, to feel their energy. So where is your energy? Are you squandering it? Chasing after people that don't appreciate you? Are you trying to be something you're not? Or are you being supported by the people, the family around you, your friends? Or are they trying to make you something different than what you are? Are they trying to make you the hard worker? Are they trying to make you the go-getter? Make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. That who's in your life, it comes through recognition and it comes through invitation. So those are really important things that you're looking for. Even if you might not have used the word invitation and recognition, there's something in you that when you come to the human design system, you go, yeah, that's what I've been looking for. I want people to really see me. I want them to know how, much I can help. If only they would listen when I talk. Well, that's one of the things I want to educate you about. How are you educating yourself? Well, if you educate yourself in a system, now it doesn't have to be human design, it can be any system in the world. Educate yourself. You are going to find that once you have that mastery, that's when you have the success. So I want to put you on that path if human design is something that you're interested in. So that is why I've created this event, this program, and now it's a year-long experience that I've created for you. It's the living your design, your projector design. So what does that mean? It means for you, and this is what I'm going to go over in the program, it means for you that you understand your energy dynamics. You know how to move with efficiency. You know all the challenges of your shadow aspects that are derived from the openness in your chart. You know how you're here to be recognized and invited. You know how to follow your authority. You demand respect. Not only self-respect, but also respect from other people so that they treat you in the way that you're designed to be treated. You know that it's important for you to partner up with other people. It's important for you to have high-quality associations in your life because we feed off of the energy of the people that we're around. Now, it's not to say that we're vampires and energy vampires, but we actually are able to be very wise about that energy, and we depend on other people for that energy. So the moment that you start knowing all of these things that I've talked about, you have an increased sense of awareness. You become your own solution. The solution is not outside of you. It's you living with authenticity. It's you being able to trust the decisions that you make. And then other people will come to recognize your frequency and will trust you with their, questions, with their need for guidance when they feel that you're ready. That person is not going to be ready for you until they really are asking. So there's no point in trying to, tell everybody everything that you know until they're coming to you and asking you. So that's why I'm speaking to you on a webinar and not just shouting from the rooftop at the general public. This is what I want for you. I want for you to become your own solution, because once you be who you are, there's no, I was addicted to drama before human design, In order to make decisions for myself, I would push it off as long as possible because I really didn't know. I was confused about which way to go. And then the moment that there was, my wave, my emotional wave, the design I'm supposed to have the way that I'm designed to have my authority work is that I have a sense of clarity over time throughout my emotional wave, which is like a roller coaster. So if you know that you're not designed to make a really happy decision or a really sad decision, you know that you're supposed to wait for that middle ground, that clarity, that nice calm sense, no nervousness, no being scared about what's going to happen, and not using drama in order to make your decisions for you, so that you had to make a choice, so that as a third line, I would make choices my entire life, and have a mistake. I'd make a mistake usually, and I'd learn from it or not. But what tended to happen was the more mistakes I made, the more ruined relationships and failed businesses and failed, partnerships, and failed friends. The more that I did that, the more I went, I can't make a decision, because every time I make a decision, something goes wrong. And I felt like there was this tremendous inside of me that there was something wrong with me. And I can tell you, it's an amazing experience to get beyond that and to see why I was having so much trouble with life. So this right here is a place where I want to invite any of you who are in the chat to go ahead and share what have your experiences been. What benefits have you experienced in your life? Have you had improved relationships? Have you had improved, a sense of clarity about who you are? Have you had a different change in direction as far as your career? If you want to, when you get this PDF download, you click that experience links. It takes you to a testimonials page on mybodygraph.com where you can read through what other people have experienced. So what human design does is that it informs your awakening process. It helps you uncover your true self. And the benefits that you experience come over time, because, again, remember, 6 months, not long enough in the experiment to really know how you're going to change or when it's going to happen. And your process is longer as a projector. And that's why I extended my program, my experience, to be a full year, because I wanted to, after these next 9 sessions, it used to be 8 sessions, now it's 9. After these 9 sessions, I felt like, okay, 2 months, well, I need to be able to make sure that these projectors are supported. So what I did was I offered a one-on-one session that you can sign up for at any time between 1 and 3 months after your experience with me. And I thought, okay, that's good. If I get a one-on-one session with them, then they'll be able to ask me any questions that come up. And it's actually something that Ra recommended to the guides. He also recommended that you serve your type, because there's a resonance there. There's a similarity in frequency. There's a knowing. I know what it's like to live as a projector. I know what it's like, to struggle with the same kind of challenges that you've been experiencing. But what I found afterwards was that, because it takes 6 months, that's what Ra said. I heard him say that. It takes at least 6 months for a projector. If not, for me, in my experience, it took me a year to really go, oh, okay, I got to really get committed here. I need to get focused. And so anyway, the extension that I've done is I want to implement a monthly meeting with my fellow projectors who have been through this Living Your Design Awakening program with me, and I want to be able to have a continued dialogue about all of the challenges and all of the information and all of the wonderful experiences that we're having in doing our human design experiment. So that's what's available for you after that. And what that does is strategy and authority, entering the experiment, learning how to live your design. It uncovers your true self. It shows you where you're here to have wisdom, where you're here to be aware, and how you're here to be aware. You're here to be fulfilled in a certain manner. And now I know that my fulfillment comes through my internal process of my mind and being that contagion, being that person that infects other people with knowledge. But it's also about self-love. It's about loving yourself and appreciating yourself and not wanting to be something different than you are, having design envy, looking at somebody else's chart and going, gosh, I wish I had that channel, Just remember, everyone has everything in the body graph. It's not about you, there's something wrong with you. You're perfectly designed exactly as you are for your purpose. And when you're living your purpose, you'll find that fulfillment that you've been searching for that has eluded you because you've been trying to work really hard, you know? That's not you. You're here to work smart, not hard. So aura. Here's a video. I don't need to tell you everything myself. There's tons of raw resources out there that are going to give you the foundations of human design. So your aura extends beyond you. As you can see, it's very big, and your interaction with different people is different depending on who you're interacting with. And that's one of the things I go into in depth when we cover types in my human design, Living Your Design Awakening program. But basically here's two more really powerful audios. My God, these are long, and they're really going to help you understand what your projector signature is and everything is all about. That you and the other, this is all about us focusing in on who that other person is. How do they function? What's going on with them? How can we guide them? How can we, help them discover their truth? That's what we're here for. So we've got two more here, aura, audios that you can click on, and these two actually take you to the International Human Design School blog where you can listen to them, and it'll help you understand your gift. Now, it's really important for you, remember I was talking about self-care, to protect your aura. You need to know that your aura goes through walls. You need to know that when you're sitting next to somebody that doesn't feel good to you, that tastes bad, that makes you feel uncomfortable, don't sit with it. You don't have to, just because we're here for others doesn't mean that you have to be a mat or a punching bag. It means that you're here for very particular others, not everybody, right? We can't save the world. We're only here to help people, one person at a time, one aura at a time, where we can focus in, where we can really penetrate and absorb and feel. We're designed to be conditioned by that other person. So now if you've got somebody in your life that you can see is you discover yourself from what the other person is asking from you. If they're continually calling you and complaining and being bitter, and you're like complaining and bitter by the end of the session, or the end of the call, maybe you don't want to hang out with that person. And it's nothing personal, but some people bring out the best in you and some people bring out the worst in you. And you just got to be very discerning with your energy, because you have a limited resource of it. You're here to be very wise about your energy and very particular with who you hang out with. So just remember, protect your aura, and it's okay to say no. Learn how to say no. So that conditioning comes from, I talked about conditioning coming from other people. It also comes from food. It comes from how you're taking in food. So if you've had a human design reading and you've got strategy and authority down, please go check out the 4 transformations. There's Radical Transformations is a product on Jovian Archive that you can learn about everything about those transformations, as far as how you're designed to take in food, and how your body, what environment your body is here to be nurtured in, and how your mind is designed to really see or be motivated. Those are the 4 transformations that come when you're ready after this basic human design awakening experience, right? The other thing that is really conditioning to us is sleeping. And I mentioned it in the last webinar, so I don't want to go too much into that, but just know, you're sleeping next to somebody that could be conditioning you. Just be aware. Awareness is key. The openness is where we get conditioned. And that the genes are, it's like we have all these genetic potentials, right? In our definition, we could either be operating in the very extreme ends of our definition, or we could be around on that narrow focused line, that 1,080 different ways. We could be right there, where that's our uniqueness. That's how we show up in the world. That's who we're here to be. We're not here to be homogenized and on the extreme ends and just, going around mindlessly playing out the roles that life told us to play. We're here to be very different creatures. And The seven-centered mind, what does seven-centered mind mean? Not, what are you talking about, Andrea? Let me go to the next slide and just share a little bit of history with you. Humanity has been on an evolutionary journey. We've gone from a mutation of seven-centered, remember the seven chakras of, the Hindu Brahman chakra system? That was established like 85, 90,000 years ago. In 1781, something new happened. We have a nine-centered being here, and that's when projectors first started showing up in the world. That's when Uranus, it's coincidental, it's not just because we found Uranus, but coincidental to the discovery of Uranus by Sir William Herschel, we have now a nine-centered, being here. And you as a projector are a unique type of human. It's almost like you're an alien. You're new. You're different. You're not here to be like everybody else. You're here to be a advisor, a guide, right? So neutrinos, the reason why, the backbone of human design, why it works, how it works, is because neutrinos have mass. If you don't know what a neutrino is, there's a little click right there. You can go and see that last year, a couple of scientists found that, they proved that neutrinos had mass, and so they got a Nobel Prize. Well, guess what? Ra Uru Hu actually told everybody that this voice, this is kind of in the esoteric realm now, this voice told him that neutrinos have mass. And if you want to click on this link right here, it will tell you more about his encounter with the voice, the birth of the human design system. We were all seeded by the supernova, the death of a star exploding, and Ra Uru Hu was told that he would be the clarion, that was his cross. He would be the one that would be sharing the system with the world. So there's more on that at that link, and it's a really fascinating video where you get to hear Ra talking to you about that. So stars and neutrinos, most of the neutrinos that happen, they're just penetrating all of us right now constantly. We're swimming in an ocean of neutrinos, these tiny little particles that carry mass that they thought didn't carry mass, but they do, and they actually penetrate through different things. They penetrate through us, they penetrate through everything, and they're taking on information, and they're passing it on, everything they go through. So there was that explosion. We get a lot of neutrinos from the stars that are around us. Some neutrinos come from Jupiter actually, but all of the neutrinos pass through the objects in space, our solar system, and they all come through the nodes, the positions in space, the nodes in your chart, nodes of the moon. They filter through that and they imprint you. And the way that they imprint you is that you flow to the earth, they go into your DNA, and at two particular times in your life, 88 degrees of the sun's movement before you were born, and then when you're born, you have this neutrino imprint that we can calculate and show you a graphic representation of what that means, genetically speaking, of your genetic predispositions. This is why it's so exciting, I think, to see this human design system and to see, like, oh my gosh, that's why I'm like that. Oh my gosh, like all these different potentials and opportunities, and just all of it is perfect and good. There's no problem with any of the openness. The openness is where you get to be wise and experience life. So what you can depend on that's uniquely you is what's colored in your chart. And I just want to show you, like you saw my rave mandala earlier. Here's another example of a rave mandala, and here's one just completely blank. So you can see that none of the gates move, none of the channels move. The numbers are all the same. What changes is the coloring. What changes is where those planets are imprinted, which you can see in a rave mandala. And that impact of these neutrinos, imprinting you, is the fact that it will give you our genetic predisposition, like I said, and it's correlated. We can see that there's the I Ching, which has 64 hexagrams, and there's 6 lines per hexagram. You can see that the DNA, there's 64 codons, and there's 6 groups of amino acids per codon. There's a mathematical correlation between the DNA and the I Ching that you can Google and find out, that other scientists have, gotten together and go, look at this, look at how fascinating this is. So that's just a little brief reason or explanation about the neutrinos and why they're so important in the human design system. Why, when you come to this, you're like, what the heck are you guys talking about neutrinos for? That's why. So on this page right here, you can click the mandala for a quick video that's on LaVeena Archive that actually Human Design America created that explains to you how a human design chart is created. And it's got a great little illustration graphics that you can check on, and it helped me understand the movement of the planets and why, why everything was like that. Really, really great video. And so you can see that here is an example. Here's the sun, right? That's a little image for the sun. And you've got the activation of a gate right here. Gate 13 is activated, so it's going down into the body graph. And because this center is colored in, so there must be, in this example, a channel would be, created somewhere else in order to give that center definition. But this 13 is where that person's sun shines. Their personality is going to be imprinted by that. That's how they're going to mostly show up in the world. So now when we take a look at your chart, you can see clearly that on one side there's in black, and on the other side there's in red, and the black side says personality, the red side says design, and together you become this quantum field of energy. You are not this or that. You are a holistic being that is comprised of these two different calculations, and you come together and you become this quantum of you. So you can see that everyone has 26 activations in every single body graph, even though you might have less according to looking at the chart, because there might be, I know somebody that has gate 52 5 times. It's like, that's, whoa, there was a lot of things happening in that gate when she was born and imprinted. So everyone will always have 13 unconscious or 13 conscious activations. Now this right here, I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys. I know as a projector, you've been studying this for a while probably, and if it's new for you, don't worry, it's recorded and you can go back and listen or click on some of these links that I'm showing you, because it will explain in Ra's own words what's going on. So here in the human design body graph, you can see that we're pulling out some elements for you to look at. And there's a concept in human design called the vehicle, the passenger, and the driver, and being the witness. So basically all that means is that who you think you are, what you're consciously identified with, is called the passenger. And that passenger you can see right here riding in the back of this wonderful limousine. The vehicle itself is the body. You can see it right here. And then we have the magnetic monopole. Clicking those links will take you to a description that will share more from Ra about what that all means and why we have this analogy. So there's a dilemma between having two activations in your human design chart, one part that you're consciously aware of and one part that you're not so aware of, that other people tell you, hey, you're like this, that's what you're like. And now you're like, what? And after some time, you get to see, oh yeah, you get to recognize yourself through what other people are telling you about you, particularly as a projector who can never really know themselves the way that other people can, see how you operate. That body right there, that design crystal, here's some more links that are going to share with you more about this concept, because it's really important for you to grasp. The reason why there's strategy and authority is because that comes from the totality of you. It comes from this mystical union. I like the mystical union rather than forced marriage, but I've seen it taught in both ways, so I thought I'd put both there for you. But the totality that is you, the only way that you can make decisions that you can trust, that guide you along the path of your uniqueness, of your differentiation, of you encountering the people and going to the places and doing the things that are going to bring you fulfillment, is if you trust in living your design. And that's why we have this Living Your Design Awakening program, because it takes you through all of the different types and all of the different authorities and all of the different centers so that you understand not just this conceptualized idea of what it means to follow strategy and authority, but we take you through some time and you get to practice and you get to experiment and you get to chat about it and you get to ask questions. And this allows you to see how you're really designed to operate. And over time, about 6 months to a year, some light gets to come in to this little, remember I said that shadow aspect of you, this front that you put up to the world that protects you and, you know, gives other people this version of you that's not really you, that you want to make you because you think that that's going to get you what you think you want. That starts to crack. And it's an amazing experience. I hope that all of you get to experience it for yourself, because it's incredible to finally see what's been going on in your life and go, oh, and have these recognitions, and it's just phenomenal. So anyway, I don't want to get all emotional on you again, but the rave mandala, you can see, just in case you don't know, anything colored in as far as the center is concerned, is defined. That's colored in, defined, and here you can see undefined, open. This one's totally open. So again, nothing wrong with it. It's not that you don't have that. It's just that you have receptors to that. That's where you're here to learn to be wise and to take in others and to have experiences and to live your life. And in actuality, these are the places where you can really learn things and make money there too. I mean, that's just what's attractive to people. That's where you're attracted to. So it's about using, and when you learn about BG5, it's about using your gifts and your talents and making sure that you're making your correct choices, but you also know how to leverage your shadow aspects and turn them from a weakness into a strength. So putting it all together, I've talked about neutrinos and planets and hexagrams and gates and body graph and centers. And if you're new to design, I'm probably overwhelming you. I apologize. But what I found is that the vast majority of people that came to me were people who had already studied. As a projector, I know I studied a lot before I even called anybody or, got a reading. It was like 3 months before I got my first reading. And then I got another one right after that. So I'd already studied a ton of stuff, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you all the information that I know has been really helpful to me in the last 3.5 years of studying human design. I've taken lots of classes, and this is one of the things, I've already touched on it, but I wanted to make sure that I remembered, so I put this slide in here. These centers, you come to human design, you see, oh, there's openness, there's white, and that's where my not self lives. Oh no, I don't like that. That's bad. Not the case. Even your defined centers, your definition, can operate in a way that's homogenized. And the reason Ra wrote the Ravi Ching in the way that he did, he wrote it so that you would see the dramatic swing between the detriment and the exalted. Not that one of them's good or bad or, better than the other, but that's homogenization. Unless you happen to be narrowly defined on that line, most of us are in between, somewhere in between on that narrow fixed line where we're here to be unique. So what happens is the more that you experiment with your design, the more you become different from everybody else. Oh my God, I am such a weirdo. And I geek out totally over human design. I hope you don't mind, but that's just who I am and it's what I love. So the undefined centers are where your mind is hooked on. It's what you think about all the time. It's what you want to do for work. It's what you are attracted to in your relationships. And it's where we can find not self habits, your shadow aspects. It's where you're addicted to something that makes you feel safe or makes you feel like you're, important or whatever it is, depending on where it's coming from in your design. And it is the place where you have the deepest challenge to your experiment, to living your design. And that's one of the things, it's the reason why in the Living Your Design Awakening program, we go over the centers for the majority of the sessions, because we need you to recognize what's going on there. And if we give you, as a projector, enough education and you're experimenting, you are going to see stuff shift for you. You're going to see all that muck that's on top of your beautiful open centers that you've been holding on to, trying to make you, and all these adaptive strategies that you're using in order to get what you think you want or to be whatever it is that you think you want. that starts to shatter and crack and get, cleaned off so that you can shine as who you really are, as what you really are here to do. So it's really exciting. I love human design. It's so much fun. So the openness is conditioned by transits, by family, by friends, by religion, by media, by school, by society. All of that stuff is conditioning. And it's the reason why you don't want to use your mind in order to make decisions, because your mind is fixated on that, finds it interesting, and wants to be that. And the shadows of you from the openness is that any place, look at your chart right now, see those open centers. They're either open if they're totally no gates, no dormant gates hanging off of it, but if they're undefined, they're also shadows. And what happens in those areas is that you're going to take in whatever energy is presenting itself to you from either the transits or the people in your life. You're going to amplify that energy. It's going to get distorted if your mind, focuses in on it and is like trying to figure it out and wanting it to be it and just obsessed about it. And what will happen is you overreact, and then there becomes misunderstandings, and there's distortion. It's like turning up the speakers on an amplifier that you've plugged a guitar into. If you get it up too high, it's distorted. The sound's distorted. So just so you know that this happens, it's a mechanical thing. There's no fault. There's no blame. There's no shame or guilt in not being able to handle maybe somebody else when you're not emotional and they're in an emotional place. If you guys understand your dynamics and understand how you're here and affecting each other, you can take a break from each other without amplifying and distorting and getting all riled up to the where there's this explosion and bad things happen, right? So there's so much benefit and value to understanding how your shadows operate. And it's what you're not. And if you're trying to pursue what you're not, it takes energy that you're probably wasting. It takes, just so much attention off of where your life should be focused. Where's your mind? What's it doing? Who are you with? Don't pursue what you're not. Don't hold on to what you're not. Learn from it, grow with it, grow because of it, but don't try to make it you, okay? So we go into why all of that happens. So your benefits, you probably got to share in the chat, and I'm excited to read that later on. But there's the benefit for me. I'm going to talk personally because personal perspective, and I know what I know. So there's a difference in the quality of your frequency where there's harmony and flow in your life, where there's a transformation that happens in you and then also in the way that you see other people. So relationships change. Me as a wide split, I always blamed other people. So I don't have that instinctive assumption that it's all their fault, and it's not the story I tell myself, it's not the story I tell other people, which has been life-changing for me as far as I was somebody that ruined a lot of relationships, and it's so nice to not have to do that anymore. Your perspective changes. Your perspective on yourself, your perspective on other people, your experiences change. You don't have the same kind of life. I mean, my life is dramatically different. In fact, I look different than if you'd have met me doing what I was doing before human design. I was this hard worker trying to prove, and it just wasn't me. And you would probably not have even recognized what I looked like, the face that I presented to the world. What happens with human design is that you have more compassion for other people. You don't hold them to anything. I got some hate mail, actually. My first hate mail, like literally swearing and telling me off, because I wrote something about Donald Trump that the person just looked at and went, I can't believe you wrote that, and I have compassion for that man because, first off, he was so agitated and so hateful that he didn't even read. He couldn't have read it. I can't believe that he read it and got what he accused me of saying about Donald Trump in this, article. So you have compassion for people and you don't take things personally, which is huge for me because I used to take things really personally. And now it's like, oh, it's not about me. Whatever they're saying, it's about them. And that's something classic. If you've been a student of personal development, or high performance, not to take things personally. But it's just something that you can see in the mechanics where it comes from. And it's so much easier not to take it personally if you can see why, right? Humans always want to know why. Why is this happening? And your mind's trying to figure it out. Well, you can clearly see it in the design, and so then you go, oh, well, no choice. That's just how they are, and they're either operating in a place where it's in alignment with who they are, or they're not. And we're all somewhere in between the two places. It's not like I'm, enlightened and I'm here to shout down from my mountaintop that this is what you do to be enlightened. No, it's all about you and your process. And when you've got your process, you get taken along a journey that brings you to your purpose. And, before human design, my cross of contagion, I was still contagiating people with information, infecting them with my knowledge, but it wasn't about human design, and it wasn't really anything that gave me fulfillment. It didn't make me feel good, like I do now. So it didn't help change people's lives in the way that I've seen, and I didn't feel that recognition. They were recognizing me for stuff that I wasn't, and so it didn't feel good, right? And what else comes with human design is that you get to the right place in life. You get to the right place, just not only in environment, but you also get to this right place where you feel good about the status of your life and the people that come to you. There's a different frequency, like I mentioned, and the big thing too is that all of us are here to have a unique superpower. We call that cognition in human design, where we are really here to have some kind of way that we commune with other people. My cognition is called feeling. It's about my feelings, and I'm here to be very different when it comes to how I feel and experience, my cognition about life. It's all through feeling. So there's different cognitions you can learn about in Radical Transformations on Jovian Archive. Click there for Ra's Simple Not Easy video, which I love. And I have a little awakening activity for you, which I've put into place in my Living Your Design Awakening program. At the end of every presentation, I say, there's something that I want to invite you to experiment with. And this observation is all about your body, because human design is form knowledge. It's all about you getting in touch with your body, which you might have ignored your feelings or, pushed yourself too hard. You notice right now, how is your body performing? Is it vital? Is it energized? Even as a non-energy type, you can still wake up in the morning feeling good rather than feeling like crap, right? And having to have coffee and chocolate and, green tea, whatever it is that you stimulate yourself with in order to get up and get through the day. Your body is a 9-centered body that's designed to perform with health until a longer portion than what we see with people falling apart now in their 40s and 50s and getting diseases. You need to observe how your body communicates with you. Your body communicates with you in different ways. There's different signposts. And I'll share how I've noticed my body communicating with me, and whether it's defined or open, there's certain ways that it communicates with you. But I do want you to notice, journal, talk to somebody. The longer that you ignore your body, the worse you're going to feel, right? Until something happens. Your body is going to start screaming at you. It's going to get fibromyalgia. It's going to have all kinds of problems. There's this one that one of my Projector instructors has or had, and they called it, I can't remember the word, but anyway, it's chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome, like there's problems that if you're not letting the body, it's a vehicle, right? Your body's a vehicle. So you're driving along and you're driving in this like hot rod, right? This body is a hot rod, whatever, and if you try to take it on a mountain path, it's not going to perform so great, right? So you got to stop forcing it to go off-roading if you've got a street vehicle. You've got to pay attention to what your body is telling you. So human design strategy and authority brings you back in touch with the intelligence, the innate intelligence of the body. So I want to invite you, whether or not you're taking this Living Your Design Awakening program with me or with another instructor, I want you to, or just go doing your own self-study. Discover your design, study your centers, study the type strategies and authorities, and find somebody to experiment with and have examples, encouraging, experimenting, sharing, experimenting and sharing brings awareness. It brings awareness to you as a being, to how you function. So that's what I want for you to do. Invite you to do. The centers operate differently based on whether they're defined or undefined. So study how you're affected and how you affect others, and recognize the signposts. Now, all of this, if you want to, you can go ahead and buy the Living Your Design. This is my instructor manual, but you can buy this and read it and just study it on your own. You don't have to take a course. If you're a mental projector, for example, mental projectors are really good at self-study, and so it can be whatever way works for you. The authority is the biggest place where you want to study how authority works, and when yours is activated and why to experiment. This is one of my favorite Ra quotes I created way back a while back, because it's really important. You're here to see. You're here to have perspective. Perspective is what other people come to you for. So to be able to have whatever mastery of whatever system it is and give that other person your perspective is your gift. It's what you're here for, okay? And now it's all different according to design, so I don't want to make too much of a general statement, but generally speaking, you have that gift, okay? So now my program, everybody's program, will have how the types operate, what it's like to be each type, strategy and stuff. But what I do is throughout this next 9, or today and then next 8 weeks, is that we share with each other how we're interacting with others, and also how best to respect each other, and how we're designed to interact with each other in a successful way. And again, there's my image to download the flyer if you want to join us, where I share more resources, just like I've been doing with this, which we go over your example charts, the ones that you send to me, so we have discussions about your real life experiences. There's information from that student manual I shared with you. I bring more insights, practical tips and tricks, and I share with you the best resources and paths for further study. This program helps you live your design. There's not enough time to cover every single line, gate, channel, or profile, but it does qualify you to go on to Rave ABCs and Rave Cartography if that's something that's interesting to you. And then I just put this in this morning. There's some testimonials from my current students and past students that I wanted to share with you. So you can read that on your own if you'd like, or if anybody who is a current student or past student in the chat, feel free to share with them if it worked for you, and that I treasure every single one of these, because having this experience with them helped me grow as a teacher, as a guide, as a person, and helped me have so much recommendation. So I get so much value from my students, and I'm so happy to have you here